everybody. I'm George.
And I'm Bob. We're the Shipping Goblins from Beetle and Grips. Today, we're going to talk about the amazing Map Vault Collection. And with the Map Vault Collection, you get a bunch of gorgeous two-sided maps, all scaled for standard minis.
Yeah, get yours now for the Map Vault Collection from Beetle and Grim, and all the players at your table will be revved up and hyper because the only thing they'll be able to say is...
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
Zoinks!
Yeah, do it again.
Zoinks!
Hello?
Who do you think you are?
Yes, Mr. Lillard.
You're just some goblin.
Yes, sir.
You can't just go off and use my
It's your
voice
thing.
like that. I have rights.
Completely. We just thought...
Wait,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna take this right to the
yes, sir.
Beetle. Hey, Grim.
Thank you, sir.
What happened?
Matthew Lillard watches our show!
Zoinks!
Double
Okay, Dave.
Then all of
Dave,
that.
we're gonna...
So you saw me waving around, and now you tell me that you can't.
No, I didn't. I had the screen. Minimised. I was watching the Twitch feed.
That is no good. That is no good.
Professionals, mate.
Right, let's try that again, shall we? Hello, welcome. Oh, we've got Steve now as well. Where's Steve?
No, I'm here.
Hello.
I'm here.
The camera's not loaded, Steve. Your camera's not loaded. Right.
Hello.
Welcome. No. We've just been having some severe technical difficulties right up until this. The last half hour has been completely manic. My nerves are shot. Welcome, as always, to Bodge of the Badgers. I'm Dave. I am not your GM. I am, in fact, your host for this evening. There's no game this evening. I am your host. This is the Great British Brush Off. And these are my beautiful guests. Hello, guests and players. Well, not players. Hello, guest painters. Hello, amateurs. How you all doing? You okay?
Hello.
Then we've got one. We've got one to talk. There we go.
Real good.
Your mics are on. You have the power. You can speak. Now, of course, welcome to our special guest artist, Jason Azevedo. Hello. How are you doing, sir?
I am well. How are you?
I am shitting a brick. Honestly, my nerves are off the scale right now. I have. This is. Oh wow! My fingers are buzzing. I hope it's not hot.
Yeah, this is raw.
Yeah.
This is raw.
We'll just go with this. Let's just see what happens. Now, of course,
this is how we roll.
Exactly. Oh, thank you very much to Scuba Studio for following. Thank you. Now, we normally would have had, we've been promoting that Justice Armand from Beetle and Grim would have been joining us, but he is in Texas, and as you may or may not know, Texas is having a bit of snow trouble at the moment. Now, so he's got no internet. So, sorry, Justice. You missed out this time, but we'll get you booked in for another one. How about that? So in the meantime, we have the superb. I was going to say something else, and it's completely gone out of my head. Josh McGuire,
Yeah.
the man, the bear. Josh McGuire. Thank you so much.
The bear. Yeah, no problem, man. Happy to help out. Just a little bait and switch, but it's all right.
Yeah, that's good. That's all good. Now, as always, thank you to Beetle and Grimm's. They don't just sponsor this; they sponsor our entire channel. So all our little shows that we do. Thank you to WizKids. thank you to VMuse, and thank you to Vallejo, who are now also supporting us on this little kind of thing that we're doing. Thank you, Glock89. Boom. Thank you to all our supporters as well. So in the window, not below me, actually below Jason this time, in that window you'll find loads of discounts. These are companies that we work with. We have some really nice relationships with them, and they are all for you. So please use those discounts and join us on our other shows. You'll see our other details coming up. Right now it's 15% off Dogmite. Do check that out. Now, if you would like to support us, you can. Right here, this is the Twitch channel Prime subs. You know how to do it. If not, ask you. If you've got kids, ask them, because they probably know what they're doing more than me right now. So, as well as all of that, today's Monday, right? So this Thursday we have our weekly Runelords game. Friday we're back with Annihilation, and we have even more adventures coming soon. You may have seen a new timetable advert at the start of this. We've got that's just give you a sneak peek of what's happening on February. In March we have 2 new shows launching, which is Vampire Masquerade and Vaesen, which is a very kind of Nordic noir. So do keep a lookout for those. Now, I'm just going to have a quick look and see who's joining us this evening for a little paint along. Sean TW, thank you very much for joining us. Sean TW has done, he's a local cartoonist to us here in the UK. The artwork behind Joe, which is our little kind of necro badger, he drew that for us, and he's drawn all our little kind of badger cartoons. Baron Snowhand, thank you for joining us. Finky213, Foul Fellow Gaming, don't know you, but thank you for joining us. Clock89, Grizzly, I won't even try and say that one, I can't say that one. Mr. Chelly, REALMSMITH, as always, which is Jason, Sakura163, Scuba Studio, S Good Key, Sorcerer Sundry. Sorcerer Sundries, I had a chat with you last week. How you doing, Leia? Thank you very much for joining us. Theatrical Man, and the Yadinator. Thank you very much, Yadinator. Are you doing some? Let us know in chat. Are you doing some? Painting this evening? That'd be good to know. And
are you following along?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you following along? That makes sense. Now, what we do, if you don't know the show, is we will be doing different bits and pieces. Like we will be painting the Pathfinder Ghouls from WizKids. Absolutely fantastic. And at the end of the show, towards the end, both Jason and Josh and you, the audience, will get to judge us. That's Dave, Steve, and Joe on how well we've done. One of us will be given the gold star. One of us will be given the silver star, and the third one has to pack up everyone else's paints. It's fair. I think that's fair.
An interesting and unique punishment in the times that we are currently finding ourselves.
Yes, I'm leaving a huge mess behind. So yes, as Steve said, the current situation we find ourselves in, we hope you're happy, we hope you're healthy, we hope you're safe and warm. We had snow last week, so text us, stay warm. That's it. See the nerves. As soon as I'm done, the nerves disappear, and I'm going to give all those nerves to Jason. There we go.
Oh gosh. Well, first off, just want to thank you guys for having me on. Love your channel. Love what you guys are doing. And we're all partnered with a lot of the same people. Your sponsors are our sponsors, and so it's just cool to keep it in the community and just be able to kind of share and collaborate like this. So it's super exciting. Also for my audience, and I see a lot of our Realmers actually in the chat, which is great. But I haven't painted on camera in a while. I had a show that we did for like 53 episodes, I think I did, called Nosers Marvelous Tutorials, and it was a D&D thing, and we just decided that we weren't going to do that for the time being, and I was going to take just some time away from painting Sunday night. So this is a cool
throwback.
Yeah, it's a throwback. Exactly. It's an opportunity for me to be able to paint on camera again, and obviously I do paint quite a bit off camera for our streams and such. But thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Perfect. It's great that you're here.
All right, so we'll dive right in. You guys have Vallejo game color. We're going to start with Heavy Violet. They have a line of extra opaque paints. Hopefully you guys have those there with you. Heavy Violet is, again, the extra opaque paints are great. They're kind of like the heavy paints or the base paints. from other lines, but they will go on usually in one coat. So we're going to go ahead and use that to start.
Okay,
Here
we go.
And we are painting the Ghoul, as you mentioned, from WizKids, from their Pathfinder line. And we're going to stay pretty close to the back of the box here. I'm a bit of a purist that way, so I like to do that. I'm using a number 2 brush. It's a bit of a larger brush, just to get that base coat down as quickly as possible. We only have 2 hours. And at this stage, really, we want to lay down this base coat fairly broadly. We're not too worried at all about quality at this point of the paint necessarily. We want it to be obviously not gooped on. You don't want to clog any of that detail, but you want to make sure that you lay down a solid base coat with that. But you're not worried right now about any of the other areas of the mini. Now, we don't have to cover necessarily the whole mini, but you don't have to be worried about getting it onto limbs or skin or even the base at this point. As you can see, I'm pretty much almost half already covered that cloak. So we're just going to go ahead and just throw it on there. And that's the first step.
I've just got mine out of the packet, so we're getting on time with.
I'll tell you, after 53 episode and a number of cons doing Vallejo paint things, I kind of have to slow down a bit sometimes. I get ahead of myself, but it's funny because we do. I mean, obviously, in the current world that we live in, I haven't been able to do any shows, but we do Vallejo paint takes with WizKids and Vallejo at shows, and it's incredible that people who have never painted before come out with miniatures who look just like people who have been painting for many years. So that's what I'm expecting today. No pressure.
You can surprise yourself though. I mean, speed aside.
Yeah.
You do, you can finish, and especially when you put that wash on and a bit of dry brushing, you sit there and look at something and think, yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, we call it talent in a bottle, that wash.
Yeah.
And I do water down all my paints just slightly, just a little bit of water just to help it flow a bit better out of the bottle.
Do you wet your brush beforehand as well, or is it just the paint mixed with the water on the palette?
Yeah, like in between, when I reload, I'll dip my brush kind of once into the water just to get a little bit of water into it, mix it into the palette with the color, and then go to it. Okay, I am done that cloak. But you can see the coverage on that cloak is really solid with that heavy violet.
I need to remember to not stick my tongue out.
Hey, if that's your technique, embrace it.
Yeah, go with it, Joe.
Don't fight it.
Yeah. So, how long have you been painting for?
Ooh, a long time. So I come from an artistic background, but started painting minis when I was fairly young, kind of in my teens, and then got really back into it with Warhammer, actually with Lord of the Rings from Games Workshop back in the day, just because I liked the movies. And so I started collecting the minis just to paint the minis. I didn't even play the Lord of the Rings game much. And then kind of in my mid-20s, got into Warhammer pretty heavily, and then 40K mostly, and then fantasy, and then Age of Sigmar. But then D&D minis, I'd say it's been about 6 years, I think. And it just kind of, the rest is kind of history from there.
Nice. I just want to know now, what 40k army did you collect?
There you go.
Templars and
you're
Grey
muted.
Knights.
Oh,
Yeah,
Grey Knights, yeah.
and Black Templars. Yeah,
Okay.
Templars were my first love.
Always got a soft spot for orcs.
Very nice. Very nice. There's always one in every group.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Jason, I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
What with REALMSMITH, what was your guys's first? What was your very first stream that you felt like you did? You know, that really hit for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long, kind of arduous road to where we are today. And by long, only 4 or 5 years, but it feels a lot longer than that. But when we started, we were a tutorial channel. We wanted to create like a virtual tabletop back in the day sort of situation, kind of like a campaign builder. I come from video game design back in a past life. So that's kind of where I wanted to start in D&D. But then I was like, you know what? I really like crafting and painting. So we'll just start a crafting painting channel just to kind of gain an audience that we can then kickstart. And it grew into its own thing and became bigger and better as kind of the years went on. And so for the first 6 months to a year, we were building terrain and painting miniatures and so on. Then we aligned with WizKids and Vallejo. And then I got back into D&D pretty heavily through Critical Role, and then had the opportunity to start streaming. And we started streaming in my garage with iPhones. It was pretty horrendous. And we have all of those old streams on our channel, on our YouTube channel. But, you know, we did Sentinels of the Storm, which was a Storm King Center campaign.
I watched that one. I watched.
Did you?
I have been a fan of yours, not in any stalkerish way. You know, just you're perfectly safe.
Just to clarify that.
yeah, he's
just
not
to
stalker,
clarify,
but he does love the colour that
Yeah.
you painted your front room.
Yeah,
That's right. And it is concerning that it is concerning he has to justify that.
Yeah,
Well, you know. I've been watching the show for a long time, and I was, because Band of Badgers we're a club, we're a community. We now have 80 players locally in our club.
Wow.
And we started that because we wanted to play more, literally just play more D&D, and that's what I ended up doing. But then I was like, when I was watching Critical Role, and then I fell into REALMSMITH, and not to put anything against Critical Role because what they've achieved is just astounding, but you guys were so much more authentic because you were just a bunch of people, all friends, around literally around the table. In what is it? Is it your basement or your garage or something? It's
it started with the garage. So those two first campaigns were in my garage, and now my studio's in my basement. So yeah.
And it was just that was what actually inspired me to see if we could. We started recording. We weren't doing them live, just to recruit more players and say, look, you know, we're doing things, and just to show people, because what we do, we play in a very kind of big English mansion in the countryside, very, very picturesque, very, very beautiful, surrounded by deers, and it was just nice to be able to go there, unplug. We ordered 100 pizzas. We have Christmas parties, barbecue parties in the summer, and everyone has just kind of grown and grown and grown who have been there. People who started there as new players, you know, have since DM'd their own tables time and time again, and that's been going for about 3 or 4 years now. But it was all due to basically watching you. So
That means a lot.
I thank you.
That means a lot. Thank you very much. I think that we've always been very real. You can tell, you know, kind of what sets us apart somewhat from other streams that we like to kind of say is that we're a bunch of friends around a table playing D&D, and right now with COVID we can't. Hopefully for season 3 of our Christmas Fraud campaign we can, but being around the table, multiple camera angles live is kind of our thing. and hopefully we can get back there in a couple weeks. Things are starting to open up a bit where we are. Just before I continue that, I'm adding a black wash. We're using the game wash, of course, game colored black wash, watered down just a touch, and then I am painting it over all of the heavy violet, and we're going to let that dry because that takes a little bit of time to do. So that is the next step. But yeah, so our first big stream, I'd say, and the one that kind of where we felt like we were there. We were in our new studio, new cameras and everything, and we started a new official stream. It's Curse of Strahd with D&D, and so that was our first kind of officially sponsored stream. And that's kind of where things started to change fairly dramatically for us. Eventually culminating in Matt Mercer playing Strahd in our season finale. And then having him also play in the prologue of Tides of Wildmount, which is our second stream, and we go back and forth season to season. We do 3 months of Strahd, and then we do 3 months of Wildmount. And to have DM'd Matt Mercer in his first game in his own world ever. Yep. And again, him being kind of my silent mentor, not knowing, my unknowing mentor from when we started this thing was pretty surreal. But that was kind of where things started to change when we became kind of an official D&D stream. And then so we've done 2 seasons of Curse of Strahd. We're closing off our second season of Wildmount, and then we're starting a third season of Into the Mist, which is our Curse of Strahd campaign in March, earlier March. So
that's awesome.
Were you nervous having Matt on the show? Or DMing Matt?
Yeah, no. And the reason I say, like, I was excited, I was anxious. I had met Matt in person a number of times before, and so there was already kind of an association there and a friendship there a little bit. So it was pretty comfortable. And Matt, if Matt were the kind of guy who was critical or, had any sort of ego, but Matt is the most, like, everything everybody says about Matt is true in real life. Yeah. He is the most kind of gracious, humble, wonderful dude ever. And so, no, it was actually quite great, quite easy to kind of do and to have him on. And again, he's just, there's no ego there. So it was pretty fabulous. So yeah, to answer your question, it would have been kind of Curse of Strahd or Into the Mist season 1 was sort of where we kind of took off. And even still today, we still have technical issues. Like even 2 weeks ago, our stream went down. So it never gets better. We just keep chasing it with technology until the day that we hope. Yeah. And then just hope that one day things kind of, get better and are different. But we're, it's a, so I say it on an ongoing basis. It's survival is success, and a lot of people kind of give up and kind of walk away from things earlier than they should or need to. And I think that's part of what we've done is just kind of continue to evolve and push and survive through kind of those issues. So there's something to be said for that for sure.
Absolutely.
Cool. Good. I've just finished the purple on the first mini.
Nice.
It's a really nice colour as well.
It is.
Just waiting for mine to dry a little bit.
Yeah, those heavy paints are really great.
You mentioned what you've done in the past, and you got the current seasons Into the Mist. Yeah. What is there anything new you can tease about? What's the rest of quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4 of 2021 for you?
Yeah. So there's some things that are in the works that I can't talk about, but what I can say, and that mostly just our community knows, we're making a switch actually from Twitch to YouTube as a live streaming platform. There's a lot of reasons why, and we've kind of shared those throughout the last number of weeks. So I've moved on to also painting the second mini here. Yeah. Figured I might as well do something on camera while I wait. But yeah, so we've moved to a YouTube format, and we're using Patreon for our Discord roleplay server. And And I've said that, what kind of sets us apart and what we kind of like to say is that we're not only a group that kind of plays around a table, but also a stream that is interactive, kind of like no other is currently. And we're kind of pushing the limits of interactivity with our community, to the point where, the first time we ever did it, we had our Discord community spending bits. We had zombies attacking a town in Barovia, and on camera. So we had, I think I had like 40 zombie miniatures attacking a wall, and the people at home were playing the militia. And so anytime they spent a certain amount of bits, it would equal an arrow shot at the zombie horde. And so they effectively destroyed the zombie horde and saved the players the concern of having to fight off the zombies. So, and there's a lot of more things. We've done ship battles that way. And now with our Discord server, we actually have a live campaign that is ongoing 24/7, where for Tides of Wildemount, they're playing the Revelry Pirates.
Yeah.
And for Curse of Strahd, they're playing Vistani. And their narrative runs alongside our live stream narrative and oftentimes crosses. And so for Into the Mist, Curse of Strahd, the Vistani were fighting along them, and the characters would like stop in camps, and then we'd have community members on stream selling them things and interacting with them. And then our players would go into the Discord and do the same. So they're actually affecting the live narrative, which is pretty fantastic. And we've had a lot of fun doing. And then for the Revelry, this spoiler warning for anybody who hasn't watched our show, but the Revelry has actually turned on the players, and the players have become a bounty for the Plain King. And so in the last couple of episodes, the Revelry found the players, and they've been battling each other on stream, which has been pretty fantastic. So
we were talking about that before we kind of came on air, and I thought that was a fantastic twist, because no one had kind of
nobody saw it coming.
Yes, even the players didn't, or
no.
I've spoken to Nora about it, and she was just gobsmacked that you did that as well. that you, how dare you?
Yeah, it was great. It was great, and my players love it, and it makes it adds, like, when I play an NPC, people know as a DM that I'm a pretty responsible DM, that I'm not necessarily out to kill my players. And all of that kind of stuff. But when you put that fate in the hands of others, the danger gets a lot more real, if that makes sense.
And they can be powerful as well, because you literally have a group, and they can affect some massive change.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. So we're we just launched our Patreon with further levels of the ways that people can be involved. And we're pushing that to the next level. That interactivity with our streams and our Discord server is something that we're really starting to kind of affect and push through. So we're very excited about that. All right, so that wash is done. It's dry for me. Have you guys kind of caught up on that? Where are we at on that?
I've done my wash.
Talking about washes, we've had a question about them. From Sorceress Sundress says, question for Jason: do you tend to paint each color and wash it separately?
It depends, right? So if I have a bunch of colors that are similar, I'm going to wash them all the same. So typically what I would do, I'm not doing it here, but I would have done, say, the metal and the purple together and then washed it all together to save some time. For the sake of this, we're doing them separate. But yeah, typically I would absolutely wash similar colors together.
Cool. We hope that has answered your question, Sorceress.
Okay. What we're going to do next is we're going to grab Warlord Purple, which is a bit of a pink color, fuchsia maybe, and we're going to mix it a little bit with that heavy violet, and maybe 1/3 of the Warlord Purple. And then we're going to do a dry brush. For those of you that are new to painting, dry brush basically is you load your brush with a color, and then on your paper towel you're going to wipe most of it off until there's just a dry residue left on the brush. And then what you're doing is you're lightly brushing against the grain, meaning catching all of the edges on the miniature with that color. And we're going to do that across that purple robe, and that's just really going to bring out all of the detail, and you can see kind of how that's already starting to go here as I knock my camera.
So you vigorously dry brushing.
Yes, very vigorous. But yeah, Nora's kind of been with us for a long time, close personal friend, and just a great role player. Mm-hmm. And she's just her and Matt Lillard actually have had some really, really impactful moments on stream together. Nora plays Esmeralda in our Curse of Strahd campaign, and Matt plays Rictavio, and it's just been really great to have her along.
They've been fantastic. Actually, we had I'm not. This isn't something I do. This isn't part of my day job or anything else like that.
Right.
And it's I'm nervous having everyone on. I'm nervous every single time. I'm nervous having you on because you're again kind of inspired me to do things.
I appreciate that.
You're my Matt Mercer. There you go.
Oh man,
no pressure. And then when we had, we were lucky to get Matt and Bill from Beetling Grim, Bill Real. And again, I was floored by the fact that they would even want to come on the show. We did a zombie apocalypse with them. And Matt was super lovely. This is someone that I'd only seen in films, never expecting that I would ever have a conversation with him, let alone get to DM him in a story. And it was great. He was so normal, so grounded, so down to earth. And I was just kind of scared to kind of go, am I going to do it right? Am I going to do it wrong? And he had this scene during the game where, when he arrived, he was larger than life. He was his own character as well. Today, Beetling Grim played Beetling Grim.
Yeah.
As we transported them to our world. For those of you watching, you can catch it on YouTube after the painting show. So it was really fun. But there was a tender moment where he was trapped on top of the roof with one of our players. Sharon, who plays Yelena, and that was it. He had this whole kind of moment where they just looked at each other and said, "This is it. We're not going to survive this. We're not going to make this." And to go from someone who was very kind of larger than life, barking orders at people, do this, do that, and having fun, to someone who could just switch, was amazing. And where I've watched Into the Mist, he's been fantastic to watch on your show as well. He's just he really is. Matt is a great character.
Yeah, Matt is he's dialed to 11 most of the time. His energy is incredible and very addictive, yep. I'd say. But again, he's another one of those guys who there is zero ego there when it comes to this sort of stuff. He just loves to play. Yep. And he often talks about how, he really enjoys just playing with us. And he doesn't get to stream often, but when he does, he really enjoys being on with us. But he is one of those guys, just a good dude.
Yeah.
Like he'll just text me to ask me how I'm doing. And we've had very awesome personal kind of connections on a number of occasions. And he's just a good dude that loves D&D. And that Hollywood ego is not there. It's not present. He's really great. I've gone ahead and I am adding Steel Gray. Steel Gray is just a regular layer paint for Vallejo, and I'm using that as the base coat for all of the skin on the ghoul.
Cool. Thank you, Honest John, for following. Much appreciated.
First time I met Matt, actually, we were at D&D Live two years ago. I guess it was the Descent into Avernus D&D Live. And I went. Go ahead.
I was going to say you got to play because I saw some of that.
Yeah.
Because you've met everyone. Yeah, trying to pick names. You've met everyone. Like Luke Gygax as well.
Yeah.
Is that the one you did? You did the gift boxes.
No, so that was no. So for D&D Live, I represented WizKids. They wanted somebody to go to represent the brand and talk about the new stuff, and so I went on their behalf, and I happened to be paired with Matt Lillard to do press. So I literally got there, had never met Matt before, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna pair you with Matt Lillard, and you're gonna do press for the day." And I was like, "What is happening?" And I called my son and I told him, and I FaceTimed my son with Matt later that day, and he did Shaggy for him, which he will always do. Like he said, if I can brighten somebody's day, I'll do it all day long. Yeah. Like he's such a gracious dude. Anyways, literally though, I got there and I walked up and I was like, sounds like we're speed dating for the day, because that's what you do. You go, there's a bunch of round tables and you go from table to table and talk to press. And he literally wrapped his arm around me and was like the coolest dude right off the bat. Like there was no hesitation in kind of, welcoming me and being cool about it. So, and then we just kind of hung out for the day, and then it kind of went from there. But just a really great dude. But yeah, the Luke Gygax thing, that was Gary Con. And I got the opportunity to play with him in a game that was DM'd by Stefan Picorni.
Yep.
And Nora was in that game. That's when I first met Nora, actually. And that was my first experience, not meeting Luke. Well, I met him that week, but I sat beside him playing first edition and looking over, and him having his initial first player's handbook from when he was a kid with notes in the margin from his dad.
Wow.
And playing with dice that that were
That's
all
cool.
worn around the corners. From when he literally was the first playtest of Dungeons and Dragons first edition when he was a kid. It was surreal. And then the opportunity, again, spoiler warning, Luke played Mordenkainen in the season finale of season 2 of Into the Mist, which was his dad's player character that he used while they play tested and played Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, that was Gary's actual player character, and Luke had never played him before except on the stream. So, just really cool opportunities and cool chances. And for anybody out there who's creating content, it's funny because for the amount of time we've been in the industry, like you said, we have a lot of relationships and know a lot of people, and it was from putting ourselves out there. It was from going to as many shows, and obviously we can't go to shows right now, but that's what did it. It was literally taking the time to travel, to meet people face to face, which built the relationships that have led to where we kind of are today. So if there's anything I can say, that's what it's about.
Have you ever done any shows in the UK? Have you
not yet?
Just in Canada and the US?
Yeah, just Canada and the US so far. But yeah, would love to travel more. Okay, so I've done the purple and the blue on both minis here. Anybody done the blue skin yet?
About halfway on the stream.
Okay.
All
right.
Well, when we script,
it's all good. When we get there, we're going to use Blue Wash, which is another Vallejo game wash, and we are going to give it a good shake, add a little bit of water to it, and we're going to use that for the skin.
You say you're going off script, Joe?
Yes. Yeah.
I went a little bit off script as well.
When I picked up my paints, they all fell out and went everywhere. So I basically stuffed them all back in. I couldn't find the ones that you were calling out in time, so I just started freestyling it.
It's good. On Nolzers, I always used to say that this is just a guide. what we do. You're the boss of your mini, so do whatever you like.
Yeah.
So with
Whatever
your,
makes you happy.
Jason, with your painting, the miniature painting, do you also do, or before, did you do competitive painting? Do you do bigger,
So I did
sculpts?
some. Yeah, so I didn't do much. So the only competition I ever entered was with Lord of the Rings. I did a Bilbo Baggins for GW and came like second in Canada, I think it was, and they sent me like $4,000 worth of GW minis.
Wow.
It was pretty
Nice.
awesome. But that was the only one I did, and that was years and years ago. That was in my early 20s, I think, early to mid 20s.
So you got 3 minis then, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. yeah, that's good. GW is not a cheap hobby.
No.
But yeah, no, it was that was the only kind of competition I've ever joined, and the rest has been either kind of my professional life now or just for fun.
I just see Corks talking about I just saw he cast fireball on himself with all of us in range. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I was going to point out that was you. if he didn't fess up to that.
The thing is, that happened to me, and then the next encounter.
Cork, just clip this. This might be excuse number 4.
The next encounter that we had, they asked me to cast fireball on them all because they were surrounded. So it's like, make your minds up. Cast fireball, don't cast fireball.
So just to give you some context there, Joe is the DM for our Annihilation game. For our Annihilation, Tomb of the Annihilation show.
Yeah.
Which
Great.
will be this Friday.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah. And Dave and Steve are currently stuck in mirrors.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the tomb.
correct.
Stuck in a mirror.
And I'm like being stuck in a mirror.
Well,
To get
Isn't that like the epitome of vanity? Is that?
yeah. That's what you get for splitting the party, Dave.
That's right.
Hey, I did not split the party. Everyone else left without me.
I think they all left through the same teleporter, though.
To be fair, if everyone had just done what they were told to listen to me, we'd have all been in. So it's probably a good thing that the others didn't listen to me and did split the party.
That's very true. If they'd have all followed you through there, then you could have all
Depends
ended
where
up
they
in
are.
here. There's going to be some interesting choices in Friday's session that need to be made. Let's just say that.
It's not a session of D&D if there isn't interesting choices that need to be made.
Yeah.
That's right.
Especially in Barovia, I'll tell you that.
So did you say you started off with like wargaming and then moved on to D&D, or was it the other way around?
Yes. Well, I started off with D&D when I was like 13.
Mm-hmm.
12 or 13, I used to play when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My friends, I had a buddy who used to DM us. And some of my best memories as a teenager were kind of gaming days where, for the weekend, we'd literally go over there, play all night, Friday night till like 3 a.m. until we basically couldn't even keep our eyes open,
Mm-hmm.
Sleep for 3-4 hours, get up, play again for another, 12 hours or whatever it was. And then just literally play all freaking weekend, and just order pizza. And it was just an awesome time. And I can still remember, the incredible thing that a lot of people who don't play D&D is, when they kind of play for the first time, is that, when I recall all those moments as a kid, I don't recall sitting in the living room playing D&D. I actually recall kind of in my mind's eye, my character doing certain things, which, you can't say that about many other things in life.
That's one of the things I like about role-playing games is when you get so deep that you stopped saying my character did this, my character
Yeah.
did that, and you swapped to I did this.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Steve, and there's two other guys. There's Jeff and Pete as well. We've known each other since we were 12. We played D&D since we were 12.
Amazing.
And then we had Steve was our DM when we were teenagers, and then kind of growing up and playing D&D. But literally, we had episodes where obviously Steve did zero prep. So we walk into a cave where it's all kind of black, viney and steamy, and it's getting hot, and I'm thinking, I'm picturing aliens here. Again,
Then what turns up?
there was no battle maps. We had no minis. This is back in the day of just having one book shared between all of us.
Yeah.
Some dice and an exercise book that we nicked from school to keep your notes in.
That's great.
And literally, it was like, and as the further and further he's describing this, all I'm picturing in my head is this cave now lined with alien vines, this kind of those things. And then he goes, and then you see an egg, and I'm like, no, I'm done. I walk back out. I'm an elf ranger. I cannot take on a face hugger. And the other two are like, yeah, we'll go in. We'll investigate. I'm like,
cool.
no, I'm gonna wait by the cave entrance. I'm gone. So literally, the egg opens up. The face hugger comes out. We've all just gone apeshit mental. Like, how have you done this? It's a fantasy game, and you're throwing sci-fi at us. So then, on the way out, at some point, and again, Steve will correct me, but this is how I remember it: is finding a predator gauntlet on the floor. We start playing with it, and then it starts ticking down. Do, 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 do. We're like, shit, run! And as the gauntlet explodes, we just about get out of that cave in time before the whole mountain just disappears into an explosion. I mean, I got goosebumps thinking about it. That's how ingrained it is. And now I am middle-aged. I still think about those moments.
Yeah. No, and frankly, like first time I ever played, Ravenloft at that time was at that age.
Yeah.
And so to now be doing it kind of for a living is pretty insane. But it's amazing those memories and how they kind of stick with you.
Yeah, it is interesting, right? I talk a lot about, there's different genres and different paths of gaming and what you can experience, and it's interesting how different they can be, right? Like playing the tabletop RPGs, you have those moments and those experiences that are almost like real memories, like things that you did and these situations that you were in, and then from a board game perspective, which I do a lot of on my channel, you have these memories of these moments where you optimize the mechanics of the game, or you broke the game, or you figured out how to get the best combo, to win that situation, depending on what kind of board game it is.
Yeah.
But it's amazing, like the differences that you can get, different types of experiences. And that's why I always tell everybody, like, if you're a board gamer and you've never done RPGs, try it. If you just play RPGs and you've never tried board gaming, like, try it, like, because you might love it. It's a different type of experience.
Yeah.
Jason, as REALMSMITH, are you only looking at Dungeons and Dragons, or would you look at doing Call of Cthulhu and?
Yeah, so we've had conversations about doing a lot of different things. We're starting to kind of branch out to other stuff. I mean, we did, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but we did Cyberpunk. And we did 3 parts DM'd by Mike Pondsmith on our channel, who is the creator of Cyberpunk. And with Luke Gygax and Nora and a bunch of other folks.
Yep. And
And Matt Lillard actually played on it as well. And he actually played Serial Killer, which was his character from Hackers.
Some hackers, yeah.
That's so cool.
And so, and I think it's at 500,000 views right now, that first part. Like, it just totally exploded and blew everything else that we had on our channel out of the water. And probably because Cyberpunk was such a search term because of the video game and so on. So we just kind of rode those coattails. But yeah, so we've done that, and that just kind of proved to us that we need to kind of branch out a little bit. So yeah, we have a lot of things in the works right now. And so we're very excited about the future of REALMSMITH and the other things we're jumping into. I wish I could talk more about that stuff, but
You can tease.
NDAs.
You can tease. You could hold up pictures. you could paint it.
No one's watching. You're fine. Just
yeah. Yeah.
Cheers, Joe.
Exactly.
Thanks for that.
I can't confirm or deny sort of speech yet. But yeah, no, there's you can absolutely look forward to more stuff from REALMSMITH that you haven't seen before.
Cool.
Soon, and more D&D stuff too. We're working on some new D&D stuff that is really exciting. So, but
I liked when you did Cyberpunk Red. It was Mike's voice, Mike Pondsmith. His voice was just incredible. He has a hypnotizing voice. It was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like Morgan Freeman. Just read me the phone book already.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
Was that the guy that was on at Christmas? Who's the guy that we had on the Christmas special?
Drew. That was Drew.
No, that was Drew.
Right.
I would love to invite Mike to come on and play, but
Yes, please.
Mike, if you're watching, plus we would love to play. We would also love to play Cyberpunk.
That's what I was talking about. Please come on and DM Cyberpunk for us.
Yeah, I have not yet played it, and I have not even yet played the computer game.
Yeah, it's fun. The RPG is a blast.
Yeah, it's quite like the first thing I ever played was Shadowrun.
Oh yeah, sure.
When I was like 12 or 14-ish. I think they're quite similar from what I understand, but obviously I haven't played it since I was that age. But
yeah,
from what sorry,
go ahead.
Like one's obviously got magic, and the other one doesn't. Is my understanding from.
Yep. Yeah, and Cyberpunk's a D10 system.
Okay.
It's a different system. It's not a D20 system. I know you guys are off script for the most part, so I've kind of moved ahead. But if you guys are following and you're to the next kind of step, just ask and I can let you know what I'm doing next here.
Yep. I'm waiting for my skin to dry. So I've got
what colour are you doing the braces, Jason?
The bracers. So I'm using heavy brown, which is another extra opaque color. I'm going to use that as a base color for all the skulls as well. And then we're going to wash that with a sepia wash and highlight it as well. But I imagine they're kind of like wraps.
The term I'm waiting for all of my skin to dry. It sounds a bit random. So
well, I am.
Very silence of the
and
lambs.
Yet not so random for those that shower every day.
Yeah, yes. It's lockdown. I'm not going out. I don't need to.
Yeah,
There you go.
In the UK, we're still in.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So how I mean, in the UK, the schools are closed. We're in lockdown. Food only. We've been this way since before Christmas, because at Christmas everyone was allowed to meet.
Not in London, they weren't.
Not in London, no. How's it been for you, Jason? You're in Canada, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm Canada. Yeah. Yeah, we're back in lockdown now. So full lockdown, only essential services and food and such. It's opening up this week. Back up. We're going to what they call red, or what we call red level, which is basically So restaurants are open, but only 10 people per restaurant.
Right.
All of that sort of thing. So they're starting to slowly open things back up. Right now, we'll see how long that lasts, but we've been in full lockdown for about 3 weeks to a month right now. Back into, because we were before as well.
Looks like we've just
And
been
then they opened
raided
it
by
back up.
Laura Bones.
Yeah, welcome, Raiders.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, nice. We got some raids. Awesome.
James Woodwright, thank you very much.
Jason, now initially there when you started your washing, did you go with a brown wash or a null oil, more of a blacker wash?
For the cloak?
For yes.
Yeah, it was a black wash. So I used
Okay.
a black wash for the cloak, for the purple.
Okay.
Although a brown wouldn't be bad. It would give it kind of a more of a dingy sort of look if you wanted to go that direction. And then I used blue wash for the skin. Yeah.
Oh, we did a little blue on the skin. Okay.
Yeah, a blue wash, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit that. I hit it with a little bit of hit it with
So
blue.
here's a beginner question.
Yeah.
So you've done you did the purple, which is the base coat on the kind of the cloak. Then you did a wash.
Yep.
Then you've done skin. Then you applied another. I didn't know you could do like multiple washes. I thought the wash was kind of like you paint everything, then you do like one wash. I just thought washes came in like dark or brown or.
Yeah, no. So Vallejo has a whole line of washes, different shades, different colors. I tend to, like I said, batch wash.
Yeah.
So whatever, if I were to do the purple, I do some metal and so on. Whatever I think should have a black shadow is what I use. On the blue skin, I use a blue wash, which again, they're all dark. And so they're all intended to add shadow and depth to your miniature, and no matter what the color of the wash is. But yeah, you can tint the surface a little bit with those and add that color kind of into the shadows. Inks, on the other hand, Vallejo has inks as well. Inks are used for tinting the surface area of a miniature. And they're formulated a little differently for that as well. Do you guys in the UK have the WizKids Vallejo paint kits yet? In stores? Have you seen those yet?
WizKids Vallejo? No. There's a few delays. I mean, like the paint along sets. They've all been
Is that
delayed
ones
as
with the
well.
model? And the
No, it doesn't. No. So I worked with Vallejo and WizKids, and I curated an entire paint line called the deep. It was like a deep cuts Vallejo how to paint line with. And so those are supposed to be releasing worldwide right now. So just wondering if you guys ended up getting them or not.
No, I've not
Very
seen them in
excited to
any.
see
Again, because we can't go out to the shops, a lot of shops are basically closed. And then there are so many delays going on.
Yeah.
But no, not seeing them in shops or shops who are still selling online. Not seeing anything with them either.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought that was just a US thing. You've actually gone international with those.
I'm assuming, yeah. Vallejo's distributing it, and they're international. So my understanding is that they're international, but I don't know.
Cool. I will ask. I will find out. Yeah, it's always.
I guess I could just ask.
Because we've got obviously we've got Games Workshop in the UK. Hobby stores, the same as comic shops, gaming shops. They're little, especially independent ones. We don't really have many, and the ones we do have don't have a great reach.
Yeah.
I think it's always difficult for them to keep it in stock.
Yeah.
I have another newbie question.
Yeah.
Paintbrushes. Do you prefer round or these triangular ones? The pyramid brush.
The actual the handle part.
The handle, yeah.
Yeah, I prefer the round. I'm old school that way. I do have some of the kind of the prismatic triangular ones.
Yeah.
But I prefer the old school round, personally. Just because I feel like I can turn it a lot easier in my fingers.
Yeah.
To keep that tip, whereas the triangular one, I feel like it limits that.
I was just practicing. It's almost like it clips. It's like a snap
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. So I just feel like it would limit my ability to kind of do what I want with that brush.
Yeah, apparently the those boxes aren't in the UK yet. People are saying in chat.
Okay.
So, wonderful.
How long have you been in partnership with Vallejo? Because you did that before.
Yeah, like right from the beginning almost. They were one of my first partners. Actually, I think WizKids was our first, and then WizKids introduced us to Vallejo, and then from there, and I mean, pre-COVID, we were really deep in partnership with Vallejo. I was doing all of their trade shows as well. So I was traveling for them anywhere in the U.S. basically that they needed Vallejo repped at trade shows and consumer and publisher shows and stuff. So I was going to Gamma and all of those sorts of shows as well, running a booth, doing demos, all of that kind of stuff. But because there hasn't been any shows, we've been partners for a long time. Alex is a fun dude. What a story Vallejo has, where the company started in New Jersey in the 60s. His father is a very famous painter, like just traditional painter. And then they moved from Spain, started their business in New Jersey, and then said, "Why are we in New Jersey when we're from Spain?" And so they went back. This is the way Alex tells it. So then his parents took the business back to Spain, and now they're currently, obviously their headquarters is back in Spain. And I don't blame them. Love New Jersey, but I don't blame them. And but yeah, they just a really cool family business, still run by the same family. Alex being the son of the Vallejos. Just a really cool story. And when he comes to shows, I mean, I'm sure he loves when I talk about this on stream. I do it often. When he comes to shows, he'll eat steak every day because he says American steak, there is no other steak. Like, you can't get American style steak in Spain the same way. So I just know, and I love steak, so I just know that when I go to a show, when we hang out, it's going to be steak like 3 or 4 nights of the week. And he'll just go from steakhouse to steakhouse. It's steaks and American burgers, and Macy's because he shops for his family. But that's Alex's thing. He's a funny dude, funny dude.
To everyone who's watching, if you do have questions for Jason, please do let us know. Obviously, we've got our heads down because we're painting, so it's hard to keep up with a lot of the questions.
We've got Cork in chat though, so he can ping us across the.
So, Cork, you got to stop. You got to stop texting me because I'm using that. My phone is my camera.
Oh, sorry, I've got WhatsApp.
So Joe is going to.
I'm seeing a ton of our. Seeing a ton of our community members. I just looked up to the chat and I'm just seeing all of the folks from our Discord and our
Thank you very much for joining us, everyone. REALMSMITH peoples. We hope you don't. Oh man, I've got paint everywhere now. I've got it all up my arm. I hope you don't mind us sequestering Jason away.
Well, yeah. Today's actually Family Day in Canada, so it's actually a holiday. And of course, leave it to Canadians to have a family day. But yeah, we have Family Day, so we actually don't have a stream tonight, which is why I'm able to do this. Usually Mondays is my busiest day of the week, just prepping for our live stream and such. So this is their chance to kind of tune in and hang out without it being our channel. So. And yes, I do have a family, and yes, they're on their way. my kids will be here soon. So, but this was a chance before dinner to kind of hang out and do this. So I'm glad we could do it.
Cool. Thank you.
Because Mondays otherwise are busy.
I'm gonna pick your brains about kind of producing and stuff. In terms of
please do.
In REALMSMITH, how long is it? Is it just because it's got better over time? Has it got faster over time? There are certain technical problems which are out of everyone's control anyway.
Yeah.
But do you, as you've grown, you've got better gear. You got someone kind of producing full time.
Yeah, I think that you just not full time. So I'm technically the only full time employee of REALMSMITH, but we have a lot of awesome. The cast, obviously, and part of our crew are part of the production. But I think that we just, as time goes, you problem solve and you knock off a problem at a time. And when you get the funds to be able to do something, you kind of figure out what the priority is, and then you handle it. I mean, the first thing we did when we moved into our new studio was we got Blackmagic cameras and a real setup. Internet was always a problem at the old studio, so we got better internet, the best that we could get in the area, which still isn't really good enough, but it does the trick. And eventually, we've already been talking about moving into like a formal studio, like an official, proper studio, and setting up a pro studio. So that's kind of the next iteration of REALMSMITH. And then we can do all of our content creation in an actual studio. But yeah, I mean, you basically, for us, some people have, investment up front, and we had some, and some people are just able to kind of, take care of it all at one go, but that's not the reality for us. It's been a slow kind of evolution. And I say slow, it's only been, again, 4 years really, or even 3 years, where we've been really serious about it, but it's been a slow kind of evolution. And that's okay. And people grow with you, they understand. I mean, we have people going back and watching our original streams all the time. We get comments on our original stuff, and I tell people, like, go back and watch where we started. It's kind of, it's interesting to see the evolution of where we came from, and in no way, shape, or form am I embarrassed about it or do I hide from it. It's who we were, and this is who we are today. And again, still figuring it out, like still having problems every Monday before we go live that we didn't expect, and things just like blowing up for no reason when they literally worked like 5 minutes ago, right?
Yep.
So I mean, that's just the reality of live streaming, and I haven't heard anybody, including the pros, like the real pros, that they don't have issues. Everybody kind of has issues, and when you're at the disposal kind of technology, it's going to happen. So
you have somebody managing your stream, like somebody offline, or do you do it yourself, like Dave does?
Yeah, so we have a producer. His name's Julian, who's here every Monday when he can, based on lockdown procedures. But he produces live for us. And then the smaller shows, like we have 2 other shows weekly, Players Table and Behind the Screen, which are kind of our post-stream kind of wrap-ups. Behind the Screen is more of a Dungeon Master how-to and question with it's basically, usually it start off as a Q&A kind of session with the community to follow up with from the stream, and to kind of get into my brain about what I was doing in certain situations, like why did I roll that, or what was I doing when this happened, and questions like that, which people really enjoyed. But now it's kind of evolved a bit more into D&D, DM tips. So for half an hour, I'll walk everyone through kind of my process of some aspect of dungeon mastering, and then the second half will be a Q&A. But those two, and then Joel, one of our cast members, does a Players Table thing on Thursdays, which is a player's look at sort of the same sort of stuff. But we just self produce those. There's no point in having somebody in house to do those.
Big thanks to Anonymous Zip F and Sakura163 for subscribing as well.
Thank you.
Oh, very nice. Ziff is one
Excellent.
of our we call them Smith Guardians. They're our leaders of our community, and they manage our Discord and are part of our plot team, and they run quests. Folks, and the Sakura is, I think, our longest ever subscriber on our channel.
Oh, nice.
Thank you,
She was
Sakura.
there from the beginning, so very cool. Had to shout out my peeps.
Yeah.
So what I mean, you've mentioned, you got as REALMSMITH this year. We got new games on the way, which is great to hear. Where do you see REALMSMITH going? Are you going to kind of stay, because you come from a gaming background? Are you going to do live gaming content and expand in that arena, or are you going to kind of look at being like Rock Punch and kind of go into a network like Glass Cannon, like a network?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Frankly, I think we're looking at new content. I mean, our obviously, our main goal, or our overarching goal, is to be able to create content every night of the week that people can kind of tune in and enjoy. REALMSMITH based, not to say that we wouldn't partner with external partners if they wanted to have some stuff on our channel, but we haven't really gone there yet. We're open to it. But as of right now, making our current streams better and then adding additional content throughout the week that people can tune into is kind of our number one goal. Not sure where we'll go from there. And we're basically just kind of adapting with the times and what people are out there doing. I mean, Cyberpunk kind of fell into our lap just because we had partners and friends who were involved in making the minis, like Monster Fight Club.
Yeah.
And then folks like that who are really tied into it. I'm done my Ghoul. My first Ghoul. I'm moving on to the second Ghoul, but that's kind of final Ghoul.
I've definitely done. Well, I haven't painted the base, but he's still drying.
Very cool. I just realized too that his staff on the other one is actually, it's a skull. And I realized, wait a second, I think it's like a vertebrae. So his little staff here is made of a vertebrae, which is kind of with a skull on top. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Oh, I didn't actually see that.
Yeah. I started painting it brown. I was like, wait a second,
Yeah.
it's way too textured.
Yeah, I painted it brown. I'll redo that one. Yeah.
Very cool. I mean, I'll turn the question on to you guys. For Band of Badgers, what is your kind of overarching goal over the next year for content?
Well, for content-wise, we are expanding. We are launching 2 new shows in March, which is going to be Vampire Masquerade.
Nice.
Which is also going to be, which is GM'd by Lee. I don't know if you're in there in the chat, Lee, but say hi. She's from Dallas originally, but she's been living in Norway for sort of 10 years plus.
Denmark.
Oh, wow.
Denmark, not to get them mixed up. Yeah, she's into Vampire Masquerade, and she joined us as our kind of emergency elf. So basically, if no one can get there, someone calls in sick last minute, whatever, we kind of break the glass, let her out, and she's more than happy to come and play.
That's great.
So she's been great. She said, I want to play Vampire Masquerade. I was like, okay, that's fine. Come and do that. And then at the same time, I was talking with the people at Free League Publishing over in Sweden. And we're looking at their books, Symbarum, which is Viking Nordic mythology, which is, the artwork on their books is amazing. So we'll be looking at running a game of that later this year. But in March, the first week of March, we'll also be launching Vaesen. And Vaesen is Nordic noir, very kind of, very turn of the century kind of Call of Cthulhu without the instant kill. So it's witches, warlocks, trolls, goblins, and there are mysteries to be solved. And you solve these mysteries, and it unlocks more things for you and your team. So we'll be launching that in March as well.
It's awesome.
Then in April we launch our new Starfinder campaign. What else is happening? In March, at the end of March, we finish our Tomb of Annihilation campaign, and we'll have a wrap-up party. We're going to be racing some dinosaurs with various people. So, if you are happen to be free on a Friday afternoon, you are more than welcome to come dinosaur racing.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
With about 25 other guests.
How do you turn that down?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be pandemonium.
Yeah.
Great.
And then April is Starfinder. So I think by the time we get to May, we will be streaming 7 days a week.
Wow. It's great.
Until we collapse. But yeah. I've
awesome.
been running Paizo's Pathfinder Runelords, Rise of the Runelords.
Yep.
And I've been doing that since August. Weekly, every Thursday. I think the only week we had off was Christmas. And
Oh, wow.
We're literally just at the halfway point, and I am exhausted. I need a break, but I'm determined to get it done.
Yeah.
It is a fantastic story, and
That's incredible.
we are.
Man, my hat's off to you,
loving it.
because I know what that's like.
Yeah, well, I've changed the format now. So the idea is that we will make sure we have breaks, because Pathfinder is split. Pathfinder Starfinder is split into 6 chapters normally. So we're going to have a proper break after every chapter now, and with Vampire Masquerade, with Vazen, we've got breaks on there on purpose to make sure that the GMs don't get too tired and exhausted.
Good.
And in May, I think Joe will also be starting his next D&D. So Joe is the dungeon master for our DM games, our dungeon master for our D&D games. I'm the game master for our Pathfinder games. Steve is the game master for our Starfinder games.
Great.
And I just missed his eye. And then Lee is doing Vampire Masquerade. Elle is doing Vazen.
Right on. Just have a lot going on. That's great.
It's going to be a very busy year. Lots of variety is what I like.
Yep.
Which is going to be fun. And in fact, we'll be talking with Hunters Entertainment about their which one is it? Is it Rock Gods or Heavy Metal?
Yeah, Ragnarok, Heavy Metal Gods, their Kickstarter.
Well, cool.
I can hear the birds. It's very soothing.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm painting here.
He's letting me know it's getting close to 10:30. I guess.
Here's the countdown.
Yes, he's at 22, 27. Yeah, he's warming himself up for a proper squawk on in a minute.
Yeah, I'm surprised my dog isn't either snoring or he chews his paws sometimes and would sound like a ghoul gorging. It's pretty disturbing, actually. So I'm glad that he's decided to keep it down.
Do you have is your dog with you when you film REALMSMITH still?
Sometimes. Not REALMSMITH. He'll be there when we do behind the screen sometimes, but not with REALMSMITH. It's too loud. I think people wonder what that sound is sometimes. He's a French bulldog. All he does is fart and snore.
I've seen it because sometimes you're like, he's just farted, and everyone's trying to waft it away.
Oh yeah, no. So yeah, now instead he he just stays in the production office and just hot boxes Julian the entire episode.
Bruno is our token ghoul.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome. Hey, Bruno, want to say hi? Come here. Come say hi. Oh, he's just a big potato. This is Bruno.
Hey, Bruno.
He's just a big potato. Just a big potato. He won't look at me in the eyes when I do this. It makes him nervous.
He's just waiting.
Yeah.
He's waiting.
It's like, put me down already. I didn't sign the release. That's what he said.
So how many minis do you have in your collection? Do you have everything? Do you have one of everything?
As far as D&D goes, probably pretty close. I mean, it literally, like, it's just overflowing everywhere, and I'm super thankful. Like, I've always said to people, if you have a hobby that is expensive or you spend a lot of money, and just do it for a living, and it ends up being a lot cheaper. But yeah, no, I mean, I have walls and walls of containers full of terrain and miniatures and so many unpainted minis. I mean, I paint fairly often. I was painting once a week, and it just never was enough. I don't think I'll ever go through them all, but I just paint them as I go. I need to, and I think I'm done the second Ghoul too.
Yeah, I've almost finished this first one.
We have a question from Fluffy. What is your favourite mini that you've painted?
Oh man, I've been asked that a lot, and my answer has always been the same, and that is the Beholder that I painted for the Whiz Kids How to Paint a Beholder thing. It's back in my case here. I'll grab it. Just because I took the most time on it, I think, and it's one of my first sort of kind of showpiece minis, I guess. Dust on it, but this is her. Wow. And I painted it so that it looked like the player's handbook. The player's handbook. So it's got the fire kind of object source lighting coming from the bottom, and then the lightning blue on the back.
That's so cool.
So that was kind of, and then I created Drool with the glue stick, the glue gun.
Is that airbrushed or is that?
Nope, just dry brushing and layering and all that stuff. Oh, I lied. This was dry brush. Yeah, the back was absolutely. Started with the dry brush, and then that was one of the first things I did. But yeah, that's her. And then this guy, who's my Frost Giant mini, Harshnag. We did him.
I've got him.
I think it was a 3-part series on our YouTube channel, but you can see both of those tutorials on the channel. But yeah, those are probably my two favorite.
I've watched your Beholder one.
Oh yeah,
was that a 5 or 6 part of that wasn't it? That was a
yeah, it was a long one.
Paint.
Yeah, it was a long one. I actually didn't do the final part. I kept saying I was going to do a final part. I didn't. For all those out there that are going, he didn't do a final part. But I was actually going to have one of the stocks, the removable stocks. I was going to put LEDs in it and do that, but I never got around to that, unfortunately. But yeah.
Yeah, Object Source Lighting. We was talking about that the last stream, and that's I remembered you'd done that on that Beholder. That's an advanced technique.
Yeah, it is, but it's absolutely it is, but it's not as scary as some would think. Actually, this one's fun too. This is the zombie Beholder.
That's the one I'm doing next, actually. That's my my midstream paint. I've got that on next to me.
Oh yeah, I've got that one as well. I want to do that.
Have you put
Yeah,
something
we've
on the
got,
central eye to make it kind of like glossy? Or is it
Yeah,
just
so I
paint?
used it. No, I used the gloss varnish. So I've done
Oh.
2 of them. But yeah, that's we did that. I did that on the other beholder as well. Not for the eye because they actually have an eye. But on the gums, for example, you just use a gloss varnish from Vallejo. It looks like this. And so once you've sprayed it with your matte varnish to protect it, you can do a spot gloss varnish to bring out kind of some of the more gruesome sort of areas, like inside the mouth on this one and on the eye and so on, and on the eye stalks.
So we've had another question. What's the oldest mini that you have? Not necessarily the first one you bought, but what's the oldest?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't think I have any of them here. I do have an orc miniature that I painted when I was 13 somewhere. And I'm not totally sure where that is. But incredible kind of round story. So I was at a Ironwind. Do you guys know Ironwind Studios? I think it's Ironwind. Used to be Raul Partha. So Raul Partha were the miniatures, obviously, we used when we were teenagers, all the pewter minis, right?
Yeah.
So I went to a Raul Partha / Ironwind party at Origins a number of years ago, probably 3 years ago at this point. And I'm sitting there, and I was invited to this party by Stefan Pokorny from Dorn Forge, and I'm sitting there with Holly Conrad to my left and V Muse to my right, and hanging out with Luke Gygax, and it was just this real kind of like, I can't believe I'm sitting here and I have everybody fooled, sort of major imposter syndrome. That was my first show ever, right? So it's like you get there and you're like, this is my first show ever. I'm literally sitting with these people who I've looked up to for years. And there's a big bowl of Raul Partha pewter minis on the table. And they're like, oh, you can take as many as you want. And I reached in. Do I have it here? Let me see if I can find it. I reached in and I pulled out. The first thing that I touched and I pulled out without looking was the first miniature I used as a player character mini when I was 13 years old.
Wow.
And it was it's like a cleric mini. I don't have it here, but he's holding a maul and he's got his hands kind of resting on the maul and he's like standing straight with like a bucket helm. And it was just this moment where it all kind of came around. I got all misty and everybody's like, what's going on with you? And I was like, you don't get it. Like it full circle. That was my first kind of full circle moment. Was sitting there and it was kind of surreal. I kind of tucked it in my pocket and it was pretty amazing. But that's probably the oldest mini that I have. I don't have my original painted mini, but I do still want to go back and paint that Raul Partha mini like my first one was painted. Because I still remember quite vividly.
I agree with that. Take as many as you like. Takes bowl.
yeah. Oh, I have a whole bag over there from the next year. They had a party. I was like, I'm taking more of these things.
Yeah.
And so I went away with and they're great for like statues. So I'm gonna convert them into like statues for areas in my games. But yeah.
I have another beginner's question.
Yeah.
A wash. When you apply a wash, do you paint it on like you were doing painting? Do you kind of apply it on quite liberally? Do you dunk it?
Yeah. Yeah. So my rule of thumb for washes is always it's more like you're manipulating the wash on the miniature instead of painting it on. So when you would paint, obviously you want it to rest in the recesses, not so much that it blocks any detail, but you want it to pool slightly in the recesses. So you're going to manipulate it and move it around because it is quite wet, so that it sits in the recesses and the nooks and crannies on your miniature. But it's not like paint where you put it is where you want it to be. With a wash, you can actually you kind of place it on and then you move it around. I do put it on liberally and then spread it because I find that it just flows better that way and it feels better that way. But I see Rick asking questions in the chat because he always trolls me. So Rick and I are very close.
He's saying
for years
take
we've been
the hat off.
buddies. Yeah, he said
25 millimeter mini has been your Achilles heel.
Oh man, he said the question I see here is for Jason. Where can my adventuring party find the Nolzur's marvelous hair tonic and glue remover in game? He always talks about my hair, although it's cut very very short now. My girlfriend's a hairstylist, so I get the benefit of haircuts during COVID. But
yeah, mine's just gone.
He's always trolling me. He's always trolling me.
Why is Jason wearing a hat? I want to see his hair. His amazing hair.
There it is, folks. Very short. Very short. That's for Rick. Although it is my next stop is my post-apocalyptic mohawk, which is it's starting. So this is my reset before my mohawk begins. So.
Yeah, I had a mohawk and then the sides have now grown out and I can't get back to hairdressers. So.
Yeah, I figure mohawk's probably the easiest for me because I can literally just shave the sides myself and let the rest grow out.
We have no one. What mini has been your Achilles heel? Either can't find, get, or can't quite get the paint right on it.
Oh man! So the first one, do I have it here? It was a black dragon. It was the only one. Okay, so I tried painting like six barbarians. We have a 2-hour Nolzur's episode. I tried painting. I have them here still. They're not done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I tried painting 6 barbarians in one episode, and that that didn't work out. I just kept upping the numbers. But it was the black dragon was the only tutorial that I did on our channel for Nolzur's that I didn't quite finish, and I didn't like the way that it ended. So that is my answer. Black dragon, which is here somewhere. I don't know where it is, but yeah, wasn't a huge fan of the way that turned out necessarily, and I didn't finish in time, which was upsetting for me. But.
Camera keeps auto-focusing out of focus.
Some of my favorite minis right now. I mean, I love WizKids, but we're sponsored by Hero Forge, so we've done a lot of Hero. So all of our player characters for our stream are all Hero Forge minis that our players have created, and so I've had a lot of fun painting those as well.
Did you? Because they obviously did their Kickstarter, didn't they? That was the pre or the coloured 3D printing.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's incredible technology and good guys over there.
Yeah.
Cool. Get into focus. Yeah.
I'm really liking these these models here. These are cool.
Yeah, they're fun. WizKids with their pre-prime minis, man. What a game changer that was.
Yeah.
It's very beneficial for like people that are in cold climates as well, where like route cans don't work and things like that. So
right. Rick said that the it's funny, the Ralph Parker mini he talked about is the first mini he ever painted as well. That's crazy, Rick. We're basically the same person. And then he said hashtag tester paints. That's what we used to use back then, was those little tester bottles.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we've got another one. I'm scared to paint my minis. What is a common mistake noobs make and can I avoid when I do try to paint them?
The one thing that people, especially new painters, always tell me is they want to wait till they're good enough to paint certain minis, and that's the biggest mistake a noob can make, is to not paint their minis because they're waiting for them to like the best bit of advice I'd give a new painter is to just paint, and by painting you get better at painting. And so that would be the first one, is not be worried about it, and just kind of dig in.
So who answered that? That was Antipodium. Antipodium. Yes. I am also a beginner. This is literally, well, it's not. Where is it? This one. This is literally the third mini that I have ever painted. I'm only This is the point of this show. Is that I have loads of unpainted minis, and the only way to get to them is I had that kind of same fear. Is I want them to look good. I want them to look almost as good as the mystery boxes, at a base level. I want them to look good to play with because I'm tired of having grey minis on the battle board. So the whole point is, the reason I came up with this show is to have some professional artists show me how to paint properly. So and I get to paint these minis. So why not? This is it. But there is a fear of doing it. Like if you were writing or if you're drawing a picture, you always kind of wait, I'm never good enough, and there's that kind of self-belief. And that always hinders you and holds you back. Don't do that. Get over it. Just start. Yeah. Literally buy some. I got my first batch of paints off Amazon. I got some cheap brushes. Just start. Even if you don't have the whole color set, just go with what's there.
Yeah.
And I think people will appreciate the fact that you've tried to paint your minis, and that most of the time you are really far away from them. So as long as they look good from far away, that's the main aim, really.
And
when I teach my classes, nobody's going to look at these minis closer than 2-3 feet away. So if they look good at 2 to 3 feet, you've done your job.
Yeah.
And for me, that's tabletop ready for D&D. And then the other thing too is the amount of time that this is another thing for new painters is if you're painting a player character miniature that's going to be seen every week, or you're playing with every week, you're going to want to take a bit more time on it. But if I paint a zombie beholder, it'll probably be used once ever, or a beholder may be used once every couple of years. So focus on painting and the effort that you take, because with Warhammer, you're using your same army every week or every time you play. You want it to feel good, but with a D&D mini, they only come every so often, unless you really want to piss off your players. So yeah, that would be another thing is consider the value of putting that mini on the table and how much time you spend painting it.
Yeah. So it's Lord Sage of Pie is going to one-shot it before it even gets a turn as well.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do as a DM though. Is like you just like this somebody beholder has to look tight. So when you put it on the table, it's got so much impact. But
yeah,
I completely understand your point of view. But I think the reality of me approaching painting that I'm going to put 20 hours in it.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to follow up with that as well in terms of Antipodean. If you want to test that, you are more than welcome to, because we will be doing a second season of the Great British Brush Off. If you want to join us as an amateur painter, I will invite you. So consider that.
Oh, there it is.
Consider that.
Antipodean is great.
Just get in touch through the socials, and we'll sort something. We'll have a chat and sort something out.
Yeah,
I'd like to answer a question that I saw Antipodean put up actually, and it was, is there a type of paint that a beginner should avoid? So when I started, which was before we went into lockdown, I was running an Eberron game, and I painted a couple of large minis. A Malfeshnik or a Winged Demon, stuff like that. And I just went and got cheap hobby store paints, which are fine for painting with. But you have to mix it down a lot, and you have to know the right consistency of the paint. And you can watch YouTube videos and find out how to do it. But you're fighting as much with a paint as a beginner then as you are trying to paint the mini. So so I went and then bought Vallejo Paints, and it is so much easier because the consistency is right, just putting it in the wet palette. So you're not fighting the paints and trying to paint the mini at the same time.
Yeah, paint quality absolutely makes a difference. There's no question. Actually, Jeremy from Black Magic Craft just did a video recently on. He went back to hobby store paints, like craft paints, just to kind of see and try and paint both and see what kind of end result he came up with. And
right, everybody, everyone, all painters and you, the audience, we are down to the last 15 minutes. What I'm going to do, it's paintbrushes down for everyone. Obviously, keep asking your questions. Yes, we're kind of South London, Antipodean, South London.
Yeah, London.
South London. I'm going to change the cameras so that we can all see everyone's mini. It sounds a bit rude. It's not. It's like full screen, and then a quick talk about them. What people did. Jason then gets to judge them. He will gets to award the Star Painter to either myself, I'm Dave, I'm the one who's waiting, or Steve or Joe. You can see our current scores above our heads in this window.
Yeah.
So that is what we're going on. But then you, the audience, along with Josh McGuire, you get to pick who gets the runner-up star, who gets the silver star. So Jason gets to pick the gold star. The audience gets to pick the silver star. Okay.
All right.
Start thinking. What I'm going to do is change the screens over. So Steve, paintbrushes down. Paintbrushes down.
Brushes down.
It's like exam
God,
time.
I can't stop.
I have to go around with a ruler.
Yeah. There's always one of us. Like,
Everyone's trying to get their last little bit in, you know?
I would have actually have finished like in.
I got them both done.
Right, so Steve, we're going to start
myself.
with you then. Which camera is yours? Are you able to put your mini in front of your mini cam?
Yeah, 2 seconds. I'm just got wet paintbrushes.
And he's stalling. He's stalling.
I ain't painting anything.
He's waiting for the paint to dry.
No, but the paint's dry. I was dry brushing.
Okay.
So
What we're going to do,
right.
we're going to pin the... There we go.
I'll pin mine as well so I can actually see what I'm doing.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get Steve in focus as well. But if you have questions, keep asking questions.
Right, let's move that
Cork,
out
who
of
is
the
our
way.
moderator, pass them over to Joe to call them out.
All right.
So did you manage to do some dry brushing there, Steve?
Yeah, on the cloak. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I
Very
managed
good.
to do. I managed to do the dry brushing on the head and the face, but I'm detailed the face. I haven't done the eyes. So everything's washed. There's a sepia wash on the skulls.
Yeah.
Black wash on the cloak.
It reminds me of Hellraiser, Steve.
yeah.
So I didn't. I changed colour a bit. I mixed Stonewall Grey with a magic blue.
Yeah, I like it.
To give it a bluer colour.
Mhm.
And then when I dry brushed it, it's not going to focus, it's too close. And then when I dry brushed it, it was with the blue, same blue and white, and I went heavy on the white, so like 3-to-1 ratio is I think what you said earlier in the show. And then on the cloak, it was the same. I did it with not the purple that you said because I didn't have that one. I went with a Lichen Hex is the colour, the Vallejo.
Excellent. Yeah.
And I mixed that 3-to-1 with white as well for the highlighting, but that was with the black wash. Weirdly, like to my eye, the dry brushing is a lot lighter, and I have never done it. But then when you get it on the camera, it doesn't actually look that bright. So, but yeah, the bone white for skulls. I haven't detailed out the dagger. I've done just the washes on that. I've not done any dry brushing, but I used a tinny tin for the blade, so I was going to dry brush that with silver. Try and pick up some of the elements, but like I say, I didn't get around to doing that.
Cool. All right, I will
Very
unpin
good.
you. There we go. Joe, where's your Joe minicam? There we go.
Joe Minicam.
There he is. Oh, he's got a little bit of
You can see that. It
extra
keeps.
colour.
Yeah.
I think last time we did it, Joe, you moved the black background, just had it on the white, and that seemed to focus. Just
That's 2-6. Throw that down there.
That's probably our biggest problem is trying to get the camera to
Yeah,
focus on the miniature.
Let me unpin Steve because 2 secs. There we go.
Very cool. I said very ghoul. That's hilarious. I meant to say cool.
Alright.
That'll work.
Where is that? Is that better?
Now, Joe, on your skin tone, is that Is that almost like a green?
I used a grey. I used Stonewall Grey.
Okay.
Maybe it's the lighting. I don't know where.
I do like the skin tone on that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
It's really cool.
It's really hard to pick it up, isn't it? To see where the best place to get the best angle of it is.
And I do see a dry brush there. Is that right?
Yeah, I done a lighter blue sort of dry brush, a royal purple. The cloak was a hex lichen,
Yeah, that's what I use.
and then dry brushed royal purple on top.
Nice.
So yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
Cool.
How the stuff along the front is kind of, popping out. That looks really cool. It's really eye catching the way the color you've used on kind of the skull and the little rope.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going to unpin you, and let's pin me, and then when we do the public vote, we'll open it up. We'll take a look at what Josh is doing, and we'll take a look at Jason's as well. So here, there you go. It's weird because now I've done the wash on there, I can actually see better the chain that Joe had highlighted.
Yeah.
Now I can see the detail on there.
Yeah.
So this was the Hex Lichen, which was the bright purple, which was this colour. And then I put a dark wash over most of him. You can see I didn't put it on the floor. I used bone white on the skulls. I didn't put the brown on, so that's probably why it doesn't look as cool as Steve's, I think. And then just metal on there.
Yeah, I love the skulls though. You did a great job on the skulls. Look how, from what I can see, look how tight that is.
Yeah, I'm still, again, this Antipodian, this is my third time painting, so I've learned a lot from even just the first two lessons. This is a good thing about having instructors professional artists to help. But just to not be worried about overpainting on the base coat, because you can fix that.
Yep.
And the whole point is take your time, have some fun with it.
Yeah, very cool.
And that's the first time I think I've actually done. I'm quite pleased with the eyes. I don't know if I can zoom in on that anymore. No. But yeah, I was quite pleased with how the eyes came out.
The eyes look good.
Very cool.
There's a wash on his head. But cool. Okay, so bonk. There we go. Oh, we've dropped
I like
the
it,
camera
Dave.
somewhere.
I like it.
Yeah.
Right, I'll go back to that.
Nice purple on the cloak as well.
Yeah. Gather review.
Yeah, I like the color contrast there between the cloak and the skin tone. That looks really good.
So Jason now gets to pick a star player, but before that, let's pick a star player. The star painter is over to Jason. There you go, and then we can quickly look at Jason's and Josh's.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give it to Steve this time around.
Well done, Steve. Well done.
I agree. I put in chat. I was like, I think Steve's got this.
Yeah, I like the depth that used with washes. The highlight was, or the dry brush was subtle. I love it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's awesome. That's my first gold star.
There you go.
That's
There you go. Nice.
One apiece.
Competition's heating up.
It is. It's getting hot now.
What we're going to do is, Steve, if you can open up the voting.
Yep.
And then we'll vote to see who gets the runner-up. So it's between me and Joe who gets the runner-up. But first, let's have a sneak peek at Josh's mini. So, Josh,
Okay.
which one where's your camera?
So right here. So I'll do this one. I'll do this one first. So I did kind of a darker I did a little bit of a blue and a black on the skin.
Oh.
I think further out is where you had it in Zoom. Yeah, there you go.
Right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then you can see kind of the skulls and try to bring those out a little bit.
What
Did
did
a
you
little
do on
bit
the
of
dagger there?
a
Is there
little bit of a
green wash on the dagger?
Yeah, I put a little bit of a green wash, kind of a little bit of a necro sense on the dagger.
Yeah, very cool.
And then a little bit of dry brushing to bring out the back of that detail of the cloak.
Yeah, the face looks fantastic.
And then this one I did got a little wild with the armor. I did kind of a green wash and then came back with a black. And I don't know, because I don't have the box on these. I didn't know if he was sticking his tongue out or if that was his chin, but I made it to where he was. I painted it to where he was sticking his tongue out.
Yeah, I think it's a tongue.
I think it's
Ghouls,
yeah.
Ghouls love their tongue, yeah.
Yeah. And then
It's even
The
that
faces
with a
look
massive
fantastic.
chin.
Very good.
That's cool. And you went with the spine and the skull.
I did. I went back and repainted it after that was called out that was a spine. So,
yeah.
Really nice.
Yep. That's what I did. I like the green
color
armor.
selection. Yeah, that's awesome. I really like that.
I thought that was kind of cool. Well, I did that green on the dagger, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of like that, so I'm just going to do it on this guy's entire armor set.
What green was that?
It's a wash. It's called tan green shade. It's actually a Citadel wash.
Right.
Okay, and while we're having a look, let's go to Jason. Here we go. Here's what they should look like.
Yeah, well, I don't even know.
Do you do?
I'm not getting.
Do they the minis that you paint? Do they use them on the packaging, or is that someone else? Or
Sometimes. So depends on what. Like with the new paint line, things are a little delayed here, so I'm just trying to figure this out. There we go. With the new paint line, I did all the box art paintings. But this was kind of a quick go.
See, that looks.
You can see with the face.
Yeah, you've got like as if it's got bone structure.
Yeah.
That's.
I love the wraps on the braces as well. They look awesome.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, and all that was heavy brown with a sepia wash, and then I just went over with bone white in small little lines. I consider this tabletop ready. It's not going to win any awards, but and then this was the second one.
Nice.
You're giving me Cree vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It is crazy, insane how much detail that is in WizKids miniatures.
Yeah.
I mean, half of this stuff you don't see until you've got painting and shadow in there.
Yep. And you consider that. I mean, I've seen them without the primer on them, and even without the primer, they're even more detailed. You imagine that the primer clogs a little detail, so they're actually quite a bit more detailed even pre-primer. But
wow.
So we do have a couple more questions that have come in. Do we want to go for them first, or are we going to do the
let's do
second place?
Let's do the second place, and then we'll wrap up with answering a few questions.
There's still a minute to go on the vote. I'll put it in for 5 minutes. So
okay. Well, ask a question.
What is your favourite underused, underrated monster, and why? We can do that for everyone, I suppose. Is there anything that you really wanted to throw at your pie that you haven't got a chance to yet?
oh, that's a loaded question. I have shelves full of them. I'll show you.
The thing is, as well, if you say it, then they're going to expect it.
Well, they already know it's coming. So here, I'll give you a little. I'll just start laying them down here. I just got to stand up for a sec. So my first origins, we had a bunch of celebrities paint with us. And these are all the paint schemes from those. But I painted 11 beholders that weekend.
Wow.
And one day I would love to put them all on the table against my party, but here we go. So we'll just start laying them out here. So this was Satine's color scheme. It was like a birthday cake beholder.
That's cool.
And then this was, I think this was Rick Ankney's. It was like a military Green Beret camouflage beholder. And then I think DM Scotty did this one. It was this was Dave from Nerdarchy, actually, Nerdarchist Dave, who did like a ghostly one, and then we had DM Scotty did like a fiery one. So this is what I'd like to do. I would like to throw all of these. V did like a tree frog one, and then Holly Conrad did like a pineapple one. And so that is what I'd like to throw at my party one day.
Wow.
You walk into the army of beholders.
Yeah, an army of beholders.
Army
That's
of beholders.
so cool.
That would be my my dream one day.
You walk into a pub run by beholders.
Yeah, right.
They all turn and look at you.
Yeah.
Have you ever
So
done
fun.
anything kind of outlandish in terms of your colouring? Have you ever done like a neon pink dragon or something like that?
I haven't. The most outlandish is this, actually, was this event, because I figured, if I'm going to paint 11 beholders, I don't want it to be, I don't want to be painting the same color scheme every single time. So this was the most outlandish I've got. I'm a purist when it comes to my paint schemes, and so I tend to paint things pretty by the book. But yeah.
Cool. Okay. So the winner of the Silver Star is...
To be revealed in 2 seconds.
I love that as well. A party of beholders.
Yeah, well, why not? If you've got them, why not? You could... We've talked about doing a giant party before.
Right,
Yeah,
are
totally.
you ready? Drum rolls, please. So the public vote,
A bit difficult.
29 to 18, is in favour of Joe to get the Silver Star.
Oh, well done, Joe.
Yeah. And I guess I have no way of overriding that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you're the guest.
You can veto, or you can.
You know what?
Agree.
I better not. Yeah, I better not veto the chat. I better just go with the chat. So yeah, Joe. It looks like Joe, you are the silver
Thank you.
model
Matt.
winner. But I will add, Dave, I thought yours was really good. I think out of the ones I've seen so far you do on the stream, it was super tight, like in the way that you had all the lines and the skulls popped out. It looked really good. So
It's definitely.
I will add
I'm
that.
definitely seeing. Again, this is the third mini I have ever painted. I am definitely seeing progress from having these lessons. I go back and watch these videos again and again because I can pause them and then go, right, what did he say? What was that? Oh, okay. And it takes a while to sink it in, but just get over that fear and just jump in a pot of paint and give it a try.
goes back
I've got more paint on my arm than on the mini, but it works.
Yeah,
It works.
I'm covered in wash.
Okay, that's it. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you so much to Jason. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
No, it's fine. You are welcome anytime. We're going to be doing another season of this. Who knows what comes next? No idea. And
For
Josh, Josh kind of stepped in very last minute. We had problems with Justice. Sorry, Justice, if you're out there watching. Josh filled your boots. Kind of. That's the wrong thing to say. But hey,
kinda.
Justice is stuck in the snow.
Like we say in my house, on your feet, lose your seat.
But Jason, Josh, again, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. As I said before, if you missed this bit at the beginning, I was, very, very nervous because as Jason is kind of my Matt Mercer, so it was really nice. He's like, no, he is. Honestly, he is. So again, it's been
Very sweet.
Been an absolute pleasure having everyone on. We'll see you again in 2 weeks for more painting. See you all.
We'll see you on
Sorry.
Thursday. See you on Thursday.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh yeah, Thursday and Friday we've got games as well. Join us then. Bye.
All kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff.
That's the stuff.